This is the Dynasty Roundtable podcast, YouTube show. Thank you for tuning in. Today we thought, why not do a little detox? We're in all these rookie drafts, right? So let's talk about what's going on in these rookie drafts. Let's give you some strategies if your rookie draft is either going on or about to start. I know some people want to get theirs in right away, and other people wait a little bit. The Dynasty Roundtable draft hasn't started yet because some people need to pay their dues. Paging, I'm not gonna say, but maybe I should. I don't know. But you're muted, by the way.
I paid my dues. What are you talking? You giving
You
me this?
paid your dues. I'm not saying you. Okay, there are more people than just Matt Babich in the world and
Did
in
my
the
dad
Dynasty
pay his
Roundtable
dues
League.
yet?
I don't know. I'd have to check.
I don't think
I'd have
so.
to
I
click
gotta
on a
get into that.
few. I just need to bug some people some more. But anyway, we are here today to help you with your rookie drafts. We're gonna give. I've been playing Dynasty since 2017. Yeah, 2017. So that's 8 years. Matt Babich has been playing since, I know for sure, since you started on this podcast. God, how long ago was that? When did we start this thing
Oh
on the
man,
Player Profiler channel?
2022, November,
2022.
September of 2022. I remember that now because it was right before I popped my arm out of socket. I had a couple of episodes in the sling.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that. That probably
Well,
makes
it's
me a
because you
terrible
know what?
person.
I suited up and I came to work. No days
Yeah,
off. It was literally the night.
yeah.
It was the day after I got it put back in. We had a podcast. But anyway, enough about me being a warrior. This is about rookie drafts.
Yeah, so I thought we'd start. I mean, we could probably go back and forth on this, and some of these are more important than others, but just some of the trends that we've been seeing in rookie drafts. And the first one we have to talk about, at least in my opinion, is the craziness surrounding Travis Hunter in rookie drafts. Because me personally, and I'm in probably way too many leagues, and the way I do them is with safe leagues, so all of my rookie drafts happen all at once, and it's complete chaos for the first couple days. So they all kicked off on Monday, and Travis Hunter, Travis Hunter is my 102. I've seen him go anywhere from the 102, typically like in the 104, 105 ranges as far as he'll fall. But I saw him get to the 108, and I was on the clock, and I couldn't believe it. Yeah, I feel like I'm the only person to draft Travis Hunter at the 108. If you were able to draft Travis Hunter at the 108, leave it in the comments. Let me know. That's literally the range of what I've seen from Travis Hunter. So like it's all over the place, at least from what I'm seeing. But typically, 105 is about as far as he'll fall, but he'll go from like the 102 to the 105, and sometimes he'll fall even further than that. I think that's kind of crazy because as I said to somebody in our comments, I'm Travis Hunter's my 102 because I don't think it could have broke any better for him than what it did. You have an offensive minded head coach coming over from Tampa Bay. You have a team that traded a shit ton to get you to play wide receiver. Which with Trevor Lawrence, you have BTJ on the other side to take some heat off you, so you're not the number one wide receiver right away. So I mean, there is that, right? So the target share is not going to be insane, but it's good. I think it's going to be good, and I don't think Jacksonville's defense is it average, below average? I don't think it's anything to write home about.
League last year.
Yeah, like so what am I missing here, Matt? Like why shouldn't Travis Hunter be the 102 in Superflex rookie drafts?
You're not missing anything. He's my 102 as well, as we've discussed on our rankings shows. I've gotten him at the 104 in 2 out of my 3 leagues, that I've drafted so far. The one that's kicking off tomorrow, the other one that we are in, he is going to go at the 102. because my friend Lucas, who's also in this league, Hunter is his wide receiver 2 or sorry, 102 by a wide margin as well. So I get a Hampton share at 103, which I'm happy about because you're not getting that very often in Superflex right now. So it's nice for me because I'm a bag holder. I got him at 104 a couple of times, and now I can get a Hampton share. I am okay with Hampton at the 102. It is still team need based at the end of the day. Now, if you're a rebuilding team, you got to be honest with yourself. If your window isn't confidently 3 years, you take Travis Hunter because it's the life cycle of a running back. He is paired up with Najee Harris. There is room for this Omarion Hampton pathway to bell cow that we envisioned being so perfect pre-draft. There are ways for that to get screwed up. Kamani Vidal really stunned us last year in limited usage. Like, can he work into some pass game work? And can this situation get maybe a little muddied in Hampton's rookie season? So I think Hunter, for all the reasons you said, is a clear 102 right now.
Yeah, and because of that, I'm not getting any Amari and Hampton. It's not because I don't like Amari and Hampton. It's just because I'm taking Travis Hunter ahead of him, and it feels to me, at least in the 29 drafts, rookie drafts that I'm in, because that's how many leagues I'm in, and they all happen at once. I'm not taking Hampton over Travis Hunter, and it feels as though people view Hampton as the safer pick, and maybe he is, but I'm gonna swing for the fences with Travis Hunter, and I maintain if we get a 60-70% snap share from him, I think we're gonna get more than that. By the way, that is more than enough to justify with his talent that pick, in my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. Tedero McMillan, you put this on the show sheet. I find this interesting. Talk to me about what you're seeing from Tedero McMillan as far as his ADP and Superflex rookie drafts.
I mean, I've seen actual screenshots from some, quote unquote experts. I don't saying quote unquote was pretty rude, but these are just people with bigger names in the fantasy community on Twitter. I didn't mean it that harshly.
Somebody gave us the quote unquote experts in our comments. So you if we're getting it thrown at us,
quote unquote experts.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
fair.
Yeah, I mean, experts. I mean, is a relative term, don't you think?
Myself an expert. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it feels weird to say out
Someone
loud
else
when we
has
just
to call you an expert.
Yeah, when we just do a silly little show. I mean, what makes anybody anything, right? What makes the most popular?
Hours, which I definitely have.
Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. So I think legitimately and this is what's great about fantasy is we could play in a league with the quote unquote best fantasy player in the world and we could beat him rather easily. We just need things to break our way, right?
I did not think we were going to go down this tangent in this episode, but no one who is a fantasy expert wants to admit it because it's bad for content. It is so much based on luck.
Yeah.
I've had teams
injuries
that were not strong that made it to the championship because a guy like Jonathan Taylor scores like 70 points in 2 weeks in the playoffs. Like,
you want to know secretly what the most important thing in fantasy football is to grind, like
100%,
like that giving yourself the best chance every week.
Luck
in
will
certain
fall
leagues,
your way more often than not when you're the one who's putting in all of the work. Your trades that you make are gonna go your way a little bit more often than other people, especially for the casual fantasy player or dynasty player, because half the league, if you're grinding, half the league is not doing near the amount of research and work that you're doing. Like, when you're in a casual league, like, you can get Woody Marks in the middle of the 5th round, like I did.
Yeah. I mean,
when you're in a casual league, you can get Jackson Dart in a super flex league at the 2-6, like I did.
Oh my God.
Like now I just named 2 anomaly leagues with friends from back home and from college, so not people who are super big dynasty players. But regardless, like, again, content people like ourselves need to remember every now and then that the average Dynasty league is closer to what I just said than closer to probably every other league that you play in
Yeah.
as a sicko.
No. Yeah, no, and that's what I think makes it great. And it's a great, one of my favorite things to talk about is the strategy behind all this and how you exactly what we're talking about tonight with rookie drafts and startup drafts and all this stuff. And we'll be doing that throughout the off season. But I just wanted to throw that in. It's like the quote unquote experts, throwing that out there. And it's not to besmirch any expert because we all, I mean, I've, Lord knows, I've had my share of awful takes. I've also had some good ones, right? But if you're batting, if you're hitting over 50%, 55%, 60%, whatever the hit rate is, as long as you're hitting more than you're missing, you'll be all right in the long run in Dynasty. So that's my thought process is like with us doing this podcast, and I swear I'll shut up about this here eventually, but why it's kind of the Pete Carroll thing. Why not us? We love doing this. We love talking about this. So why not talk about it and put it out there for people to criticize and send us, nasty comments or maybe good comments. I don't know. I don't care. I respond to all the comments very similarly. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you watching. Hope to see you in the next one. And then I answer the question, whatever it might be. But who is anybody before they become something? Nothing. Like who is like, you know what I'm saying? Like this idea that you have to be a quote unquote expert, whatever the fuck that means, to have a show that is entertaining and engaging is cockamamie. Cockamamie, I say.
Just
So
like
anyway,
the idea that Ted McMillan could go as
there we
low
go.
as 108
That's why he's
in
here,
a
ladies and
rookie
gentlemen.
draft.
Yeah.
I think though it brings up a good point, and I'm actually facing a similar-ish situation in one of my leagues where I'm on the clock literally right now. When you get to a point where a player that you're iffy on starts sliding to the point where they're a clear value, you're on the clock, Ted McMillan, 106. You wanted to take Judkins. You wanted a running back, but Ted McMillan thought he was going to go 1-3, 1-4. No, he's there at the 1-6. Do you just go NFL mode, right? And do what the smart GMs do and just best player available, take the value? Is that still the right strategy in fantasy football, or do you have to draft for need a little bit more?
The answer is yes. If Tedero McMillan falls to the 106, I'm absolutely drafting him over the running back pocket. Yeah, I mean, you know me, man. I don't really like running back anyway, which is weird. I kind of like this class, but I don't like the running backs, which that doesn't make any sense, which is on brand for me. But I'm absolutely smashing the best player available approach because why do I need a running back right now, Matt? I don't. I have when's kickoff of the NFL season?
Oh, like September 11th or something like that. Never forget.
Yeah, I mean you take the value now and then let it like a good stock, just let it build in value, the rookies. Everybody's going to want these rookies. And Tedero McMillan has a pretty sweet situation. So, yeah, I'm absolutely at this point banking the value. My approach is similar in a startup. I'm not filling lineups in May. That's just not how I roll. So, yeah, once we get closer to the season, I give you permission to, try to fill a running back need if you have one, even though even then I'm kind of reluctant to do it because then that puts me in a situation where I don't have much leverage if I'm the one needing something. I don't like to be in that situation, but obviously it's unavoidable at some points. But yeah, what are your thoughts, man? What do you think about this?
I mean, it always depends on the player value combo, but ultimately I'm always leaning towards just taking the best player available. There's going to be times like later in the draft where that's when I'm definitely doing it the most is like, okay, Woody Marks fell around. Like, yeah, I'm going to take him. Jarquez Hunter fell. Sure, take him. Jalen Milroe fell to the mid third. Yep, take him. There's just no matter what, right? Just whoever falls, whoever's just highest in my rankings, that's who I'm going to throw the dart on. I'm not going to get cute with it. In the first and second rounds, it does depend on your team structure, but I tend to agree with you where I have a long time to go get a running back. These dynamics are going to become more clear as we get a little bit closer to the off season. But a guy like Tedoroto McMillan, like you said, that stock is going to go up. So even if you just use Tet as leverage to go get a different running back, whether it be, Judkins, whoever you were going to draft or somebody else, like you can figure it out. If you just tell yourself, we'll figure it out. That's all you have to do. Anytime you have a concern when you're in the draft, just tell yourself, we'll figure it out. Take the best player
Yeah,
available.
absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I want to get to this. Some people might call it the lower tier of the good running backs, like the Trevion Hendersons, the Quinshon Judkins, Caleb Johnson, R.J. Harvey, because we both wrote this down. In the drafts that I'm doing, Trevion is clearly over Quinshon, Caleb, R.J. Harvey. And in some drafts, I'm seeing Caleb Johnson and R.J. Harvey fall to the early second round, which if they do, man, I'm smashing either one of those options right there. So what are you seeing there, and what is your opinion on the state of those four players in particular?
Yeah. So I've been seeing the same thing. I've been hearing people say that they think Trevion is their 102 as well. So there's getting some crazy talk out there about Henderson. He's the clear leader of the clubhouse. Then it's Judkins, and then Johnson or Harvey has been the biggest toss up, and I think it's going to be one of the most fun debates this off season. And I even saw Dwayne McFarlane and Jacob Sanderson was involved. I think there was somebody else. Ray Garvin might have been involved in the conversation, but essentially it was just all RJ Harvey versus Caleb Johnson, opportunity versus, talent and potential opportunity over in Pittsburgh. It's an interesting debate. I just took Harvey over Caleb Johnson. So that was the first time I was met with that decision. I went RJ Harvey. I will say I was at the 112 or I was at the 112 championship roster, best ball dynasty, which is why I went Harvey. Do you think I made the right choice there?
This is going to be a frustrating answer, but
Better
in
off.
my opinion, it's a literal coin flip. Like I think it's that close because I had the same decision twice, and I just thought I went with the I don't know if
split
you
it?
want to call it the pussy approach, the stock portfolio approach.
You split
I
it?
split it. I split it. Yeah,
I'm telling you, I would do the same thing.
yeah, yeah.
Unless I had a lot of conviction, I would do the exact same thing.
Here's exactly how I feel about it. I think Caleb Johnson is the better player, but RJ Harvey is clearly in the better situation
Totally agree.
and higher draft capital.
Higher draft? Yep.
So I think both players honestly are because I'm in some of these underdog best ball drafts because I wanted to hop in some right away to get a sense for where the market is. I think you can make a real case. Again, I haven't done my redraft projections yet, but both of those players are insane value right now in underdog, in my opinion. I think in years past, and I get it, like RJ Harvey, it was unexpected, but round two, going to a Sean Payton offense with hardly any competition. Caleb Johnson, I know he fell to round three, but only Jalen Warren there in terms of competition for him.
Yep.
Really? That's serious. And it likely he's going to fill that Najee Harris role. Like those are
And he has
potential
better
bell
traits than
cow.
Najee Harris.
Yeah, those are potential bell cow running backs in the sense that a new age bell cow running back when we're talking about 60% snap share, right? I mean, that's definitely on the table for both of those guys. So, and they could hit really big right away. So, yeah, I think it's a literal coin flip. You take your guy. I think we talked about this on a previous show, and I'll try not to contradict myself because apparently I was doing that too much in our last episode. Um, and I asked the guy who said I was contradicting myself to tell me when I did it, but I haven't gotten a response yet. Anyway, I don't know if I'll cut. I'll leave it in. I'll leave it in. It's just Seth being bitter for a second. Um, Answering the YouTube comments is fun sometimes, but we love you all and we want you to subscribe and like and all that good stuff. But now I can't remember what I was talking about. But anyway, that's how my mind works. RJ Harvey, Caleb Johnson, help me out here. Anyway, might have lost it.
You're on your own. You got to find your way back.
I'm stranded
No,
on
you're saying it's a
Mistake Island.
He said just go pick your guy. Like this.
Yeah.
We talked about that whole group of running backs, and I said I disagreed about Travion Henderson being in that group, but Judkins, Harvey, Johnson, get your guy. Now,
yes.
People are going out and getting their guys. Believe me, they are, because I'm seeing multiple people. I've seen it twice now. Jadon Blue in the mid to late second round of rookie drafts. What are we doing? What are we doing drafting an undersized satellite back who was drafted in the 5th round, who is not going to see a shed of daylight ahead of Javonte Williams or Miles Sanders this year, at the very least?
Yeah.
What I'm flabbergasted. Who is peddling this? I have to know who is peddling this nonsense, because it has to be coming from somebody.
I don't know, man. It's tough. I do like Jadon Blue, but I don't like him as much as that. That's kind of where I fell on Cam Scatabo too. Cam Scatabo is going really high, like early mid second round. I don't quite understand it. I get it. He had a great season in college, but Jadon Blue, back to Jadon Blue. And you tell me in the chat comments. I mean, we're gonna lay it out for you exactly what we would do. I can't take Jadon Blue over Trey Harris. I can't take him over Jaden Higgins. I don't even think I could take him over Jalen Noel, to be honest with you. I mean, Jack Besh, I can't take him over Jack Besh, round 2 wide receiver with a decent opportunity, decent target share right away. Like, these are just players that there's just no way I'm getting any Jadon Blue at that price. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I have him at like 40 in my rankings. Like,
yeah.
He went 3-9 in another one of my leagues, and like that, I'm like, okay, that we're reaching like a pretty reasonable price there. But yeah, we gotta be honest there. Any other draft trends you wanna touch on before we start going into the crush your draft tips?
Yeah, let's see. We talked about the main one I wanted to get to. I'll throw out a few of these real quick. I think it's interesting that Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland is kind of a coin toss. I think the clear answer is Colston Loveland. If you ask me, I just think the offense, the quarterback, and you tell me if you disagree on any of these, but I'm just kind of surprised to see that given the draft capital and the situation. I'm also shocked that Jalen Noel is going, at least in the drafts that I'm doing, middle of the 3rd round. And at that price, I get it. It's a crowded situation. We have Tank Dell somewhere in the shadows, right? Christian Kirk is there, but not for long. So I think if we're patient, I think this is where Dynasty gamers get impatient, and they were hoping for just a smash spot for Jalen Noel, who absolutely crushed the Senior Bowl. And we didn't quite get that, but I think we got that, though, if you think about it. And the way that all the pieces of this offense fit together long term. You have Nico, you have Jaden Higgins, and you have Jalen Noel. It feels, and I'm no NFL schematic expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I do watch film. I do a tad bit of scouting, more than a tad bit. I'm selling myself short there. I watched a lot of film this year, and Jalen Noel feels like the perfect NFL slot wide receiver. He just does. I don't know. I think it's a perfect fit with CJ Stroud. You might not get the returns this year, but in the future, I think there's a good chance he's going to be a productive player.
Here's my issue with Jalen Noel is you have an incredibly talented Nico Collins on the outside. He's your X. He's your alpha. Jaden Higgins just signed the NFL's first fully guaranteed rookie contract from a second-round player. So if he's going to be third fiddle in this offense with two receivers that are holistically well prior to their AJ packs, and that just doesn't spell well for Dynasty. He's going to be a great receiver 3 for them. It's great for the Texans offense that he is there. They have that added depth. But let's not even forget, Seth, that Christian Kirk is going to start in the slot.
I
I know it's not a
know.
guaranteed, but let's be real. Like we want to say right now that the rookie is that we like is going to take over. But to me, I keep coming to the conclusion of this was probably the worst landing spot for him after the Higgins pick had already been made. So you have Nico Collins on the left, fully guaranteed Jaden Higgins second round draft capital on the right. You have Christian Kirk, a known good player from the slot who's going to start there at least. Noel has to take Kirk's job to be third in target share among receivers in Houston. You're chasing Tyler Boyd basically in the Higgins Chase offense, and that's just it's not valuable, unfortunately.
So what I'm hearing from you is you think let's just meta this.
I'll
Let's
take him in the
spend
mid third, though. I will say I'll circle back around and also say that in the mid third, like I'm at the 212 on the clock, and he's one of the top 3 available. And I don't know if I can push the button on him. It is best ball, so it's a little different. But I will say in the mid third, he hits a point in my rankings where I believe that's a price I'm going to be comfortable with. Because let's look here. So we're talking about like in terms of sleeper ADP, what they're showing me right now, like Dylan Sampson, Devin Neal, Terrence Ferguson, Harold Fannin, Royals, Aya Manor, Kyle Williams. Can we talk about that glitch, guys? By the way, Kyle Williams is like 9th round ADP based on sleepers rankings for some reason. So like Kyle Williams is, I don't know if people are just missing him, and be on the lookout for Kyle Williams. He's like a 3rd round pick, and he's going to be at the bottom of sleepers list.
Yeah, scroll down. That's all I have to say. Just before you pick, Christian Kirk is on a 1-year deal, by the way. So what I'm hearing you say, which 3rd round, by the way, if he's available in the mid 3rd round, that's an absolute travesty. You need to take him.
It's not
there
a
every
travesty.
time. It's a travesty.
What is his path to winning you a fantasy championship?
Oh my God. Like why does he have to win you a fantasy championship? Why can't he just be a nice productive 10 to 15 fantasy points a game, wide receiver
10
2?
10 to 15 fantasy points a game, wide receiver 2 in what economy? With what target?
You didn't let me finish. I said wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3-ish, somewhere in that neighborhood. Like
that's a tall order for if you're, let's be honest, like ADP wise, early 3rd, late 2nd is where he's most often going. And even in the mid 3rd, is a completely different game, because once you hit that mid 3rd or even the 3rd round, like you are throwing darts, and like chasing a prime Tyler Boyd is the worst thing in the mid 3rd round. But at the back end of the 2nd round, which is right about where, he should be going based on what Sleeper shows for ADP. I wonder what other aggregate sites would show. But I wonder what Keep Trade Cut has too for rankings. But that's a tall order.
Yeah, I mean I think it's possible with this offense. I really do. Out of all the options that you're choosing from there, I mean that's legitimately where you're talking about DJ Giddens, Jarquez Hunter, Jordan James. I mean, if you want to take one of those running backs, I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. I think I think it was kind of a victim of itself. So in a way, there were so many good options that teams knew that they could wait, and a lot of these players can do similar things that other players in the class can do. Um, but Christian Kirk is going to be gone after this year. And I just think that I'm gonna have a lot of Jalen Noel. I can already clearly we disagree about this. Maybe I'm a little bit bullish on the wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 train. So maybe you
All
got me
right,
there. I don't know. That's just off the top of my head, but
it's pretty bullish.
I
But
yeah.
let's close the Noel thing with this. I'm on the clock, 2:12. I have Stroud. Um,
Who's available?
it is Besh, Milrow, Noel, Shook, Sampson, Neal, Ferguson.
Well, as
I
much as
have
you
Burrow,
hate
Stroud,
Shook.
and Mayfield, so I don't really need a quarterback. And this is a weird
Okay.
league where you can only trade first and seconds during the draft for that year. You cannot trade
Okay.
future first and seconds. So like if I wanted to get Shook for like a nice return, I'd have to figure out somebody who would give me like a player package, and it just makes the whole thing messy. You know what I mean? There's just certain assets like that I'm not willing to take on because they're a lot harder for me to move off of in an effective way.
I would probably take Jack Besh there,
That's what
honestly.
I'm thinking. I mean, he's highest in my rankings.
Yeah.
Um, my tight ends are Ingram, McBride, and you start two, so I'm very thin there. But I feel like I'm just gonna start throwing like I have 3 4th-round picks and a 5th-round pick. I think I'm just gonna start throwing like get like a Higbee and
Yeah.
draft like Gadsden.
Gadsden late would be nice. Ferguson, did you say Ferguson? Is he gone?
Ferguson's not gone. I did have I had a theory where I
Ooh,
took Ferguson there and I traded a 5th for traded 412 for Higbee and just had both of them.
yeah. I would consider Ferguson too. Like that's not
Damn.
bad
Okay,
if
I
you need a
might go
tight
with
end.
my because that's what I've been thinking about. But then I didn't expect Besh to get there. Shadur Sanders went at the 2-9. But anyway, enough about this.
Oh Lord.
My one personal league.
Yeah, I think we talked about most of what we want, the trends that we're seeing in rookie drafts. Now it is time for some tips brought to you by no one because we don't have a sponsor yet. But if you'd like to sponsor the show, let me know. Tip number one: the startup draft, Dynasty startups, which we will cover later. If the Dynasty startup draft is the easiest time to acquire future rookie picks, then the rookie draft is the next easiest place. Am I right or am I wrong about that?
You're very right. You get a lot of especially teams that are in the middle of the pack that think that their draft is going well and they're one move away from really competing in the short term. You can really take advantage of some of those managers that are very over eager in a league that we're in. You could tell that there's a couple of guys that are really itching to get into their drafts, and it's not always the case, but that's kind of the archetype that you're going for, of like somebody who's like very impatient, like very excited, very into the whole rookie fever,
Who's
always
lighting up the
trying to
chat? Who's lighting
right,
up the chat? Yeah.
right. Like honestly, people who are lighting up the chat in like May are the people
Yeah.
you're gonna. But there's so much focus on rookie fever this year. If you want to even trade out of firsts to get player capital and picks next year, that is definitely the easiest way to get future picks right now. And the way this NFL draft went, I think that almost every time I'm on the clock, unless it's outside like the 104, I'm like I would field offers here. Like I'd move back a few spots. I'd trade this for a Bucky Irving and a pick or something, just something like that. Um, so I think this is the perfect time to maximize your flexibility.
Yeah. And I think tip number two, if we can go there, kind of plays into tip number one because the rookie draft, and we're talking about rookie picks for 2026, and I suppose trading down too. If you are a rebuilding team, you should always consider that. But tip number two is never be in a rush. And I referenced it earlier in the episode. Last time I checked, kickoff isn't until September. And I wanted to kind of rant about this a little bit, but the OTC bros, the guys who think that it's their job to police the draft and just tell everybody when they're on the clock. First of all, that kind of pisses me off because if you're not paying attention to the rookie draft, then you deserve, and if you auto draft, I think you deserve that. I think that that's on you. And I actually did auto draft in Jason's league, so shame on me. And I auto drafted Isaiah Bond, so especially shame on me in the Wake and Take league. So I feel like if you're not paying attention to the rookie draft, if you're not plugged in, where you miss a rookie pick, that's kind of on you. I don't need somebody policing that. And I actually got a text message from a guy. I don't know how he got my number, because I don't know if I guess my number's out there somewhere in the ether. He texted me OTC. I'm like, I don't know who you are, like he's not somebody in the league that I'm friends with, per se. But anyway, I think the OTC bros need to chill and give yourself time to really explore all the potential deals. And the 8 hour clock, that's pretty standard. It's there for a reason, and it allows you time to think through all the possibilities, because who knows what can happen during the course of your rookie draft. I mean, I told you at the beginning of this episode that Travis Hunter fell to the 108, and believe me, people were trying to trade up to the 108 to get Travis Hunter, and they were willing to give me a decent amount to do so. I just didn't feel like it was worth it. I went back and forth with those people for a little bit, but at the end of the day, I took Travis Hunter. So it doesn't do you any, it doesn't hurt you at all to just take your time, see if you can add some picks next year while also making your team better, for the here and now as well. I think it's possible. So, what are your thoughts about the OTC bros and all of that?
Yeah, obviously there's a couple of distinguishes to be made. It's okay, to be excited for one thing and to
Yeah.
to be amped up about the draft.
Now,
And it is one thing.
let me say one thing though. If you're trying to remind somebody like, "Hey, you only have 30 minutes," I'm fine with that. But if it's like, "Hey, we need to get this draft over with because I want to make all my picks," that's where I'm like, "Okay, whatever." But
Yeah, the
also
slow drafts that I'm in
yeah,
though, usually it's either one person or the person who picks then just tells the next person that they're
yeah,
up, just especially because like slow drafts, you go to weekends and nights, and when you're not like locked in for one period of time, we all have phones, we all have a million notifications. Like sometimes it gets lost in the ether. So having one OTC or like, hey, you're up when you're on the clock for just a little reminder, friendly reminder, and then again, a 30 minutes like a hey, just making sure you're able to get your pick in, that's okay. But like there are people that will do it like every hour or like every 2 hours. And then the worst OTC bros are the passive aggressive OTC bros because they won't just say OTC all the time. They'll put out like memes or like sarcastic little messages in the chat of like, we'll be done with this rookie draft just in time for next year's rookie draft. Uh
yeah, yeah,
Stuff like that. But
exactly.
yeah, just, slow down, have fun. And part of the advantage too of this is everyone gets the ability. It's not just about the draft pick. You have a league full of rosters and everyone's wanting to make some sort of move. So you have 2 hours per pick to figure out a game plan. Like it's given me so much time to really work with some of my rosters. And in one league where I really decided to reset, I traded Michael Pittman for the 2-8 and took Tootin. While it took forever for this deal to get done, but I traded Kittle for the 2-5 and took Colston Loveland because he fell. So it's things like that that allow you to take advantage, even as a spectator. You could be 3-4 picks away, and with a slowed clock, you can take advantage of somebody falling by having the time to work up a good deal and really plot your next move. It allows you to play chess.
Well said. Tip number 3: Tip number 3. So, in my opinion, there are a few drop off points. I think once Caleb Johnson and RJ Harvey are off the board, the last sort of tiers of running backs, and assuming the tight ends, the top two tight ends are gone, usually that's around the 201 range, the 202 range, maybe the 112 if everybody goes. If you don't have a surprise, like, you know, I suppose Jackson Dart's in here as well, but it's around there where it starts to drop off, probably like 201, 202. So trading up to get into the 110, 111 range to secure yourself a Caleb Johnson and RJ Harvey, I would be on board with doing that. And then I think that there's another drop off point around the 209 to 210. You know, once the Jaden Higgins, the Trey Harris, and Trey Harris is going extremely late in a lot of my rookie drafts. So getting up there to get one of those wide receivers or maybe one of the tight ends, like Mason Taylor, I think would be a smart move. But what do you think of that? Because that's what I'm seeing in my rookie drafts. Obviously, every rookie draft's different. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I tend to agree. If I'm on the cusp of those or on the outside of those turns, I'm really looking to trade back. Like I think there are spots where I would rather trade back a few spots and get Trey Harris rather than like the Ibuka Golden stretch at cost. I think I would rather take some additional value and even like potentially move out of because it all depends on how the first round goes too. You could be sitting at the back end of the first round and still not have access to any of those RBs, and you're looking at like Egbuka, Burden, the Loveland, Warren, Golden, and I'm not opposed to trading back there to either just a couple of spots to maybe get Warren or Loveland, or a couple of more spots to get a Trey Harris, um, or honestly trading out completely and re-rolling next year. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world at this point. I think there are some pretty soft value pockets, and like especially in the late second, mid third round, I think there's a lot of guys who I say I loved them pre-draft. I would love them if they were in the fourth or fifth round. I can't stomach that we have like a fifth round pick, DJ Giddens, being like a mid an early to mid to late third round pick, like somewhere in that range. It's wild. Like we're getting Jalen Royals fifth round, like Alec Manor. Like these are people in the third round. Like these are people who should be fourth and fifth round picks. So this draft has a lot of good for like the third round. I've never tried to trade out of so many third round picks in my entire life.
Sorry, my son is going absolutely ape shit upstairs. So there's going to be some blood curdling screams in the podcast. Maybe I don't know if you can hear that or not, but
No, you can't.
anywho, the last tip, and this is probably the most important one. And this, I might get some eye rolls from some people. I don't know, but this is your dynasty team. You're going to have to live with it long term. So if the rankings are close and you have a strong take on a guy, just go get your guy. It's similar to the conversation we were having with, Quinshawn, Caleb Johnson, RJ Harvey, Travion Henderson. If you have Quinshawn ahead of Travion Henderson, go get him. Maybe your league mates will mock you. Probably not, but who knows? Like, go get your guy. Like, this is your team, especially if you're not like, I hate to even throw this term out there, a portfolio type player, like kind of I am. I guess that's what I am. I don't know, but especially if you only have two or three teams, or maybe just one team, go get your guy. If it's close, just don't be afraid to buck consensus a little bit to just go get a player that you really want.
It's gonna make the whole fantasy life cycle so much more enjoyable for you if you do that, because there's so let's say we'll take the Harvey Johnston or Johnson argument back into this. And so let's say you're torn. Everyone, the experts you're listening to say Caleb Johnson. ADP says Caleb Johnson, but you like RJ Harvey. You love RJ Harvey. You think he'd be so much fun to watch in Denver. You could already picture yourself like rooting for the 70-yard touchdown. But everything you've been told or that you think you should think says that you should go Caleb Johnson. If you decide to go Caleb Johnson and he is worse than RJ Harvey, there's just going to be so much like resentment and anger. And some people are okay with living that. I know it would drive me crazy. And that's why I go with RJ Harvey. Like, I think he's going to be really fun. But I'm also a portfolio guy because I play in more leagues. So I also want Caleb Johnson because I think he's fun and good. But Travis Hunter, when he was available at the 104, like anytime he's available to me in the first round, I have made the decision it's going to be Hunter. If I have a first round pick and Travis Hunter's on the board, he's getting picked because it's fun. And I like to win in fantasy. I like to mix winning and fun. But at the end of the day, I want to be able to sit on my couch and enjoy the team that I have in front of me, and you should too.
Very well said. Real quick on the off season, the Dynasty off season. I did want to touch on this because the rookie draft leads into what can be a cold, dark time for Dynasty. But in my estimation, assuming that you have a league that is active, and the only time that I would ever encourage you to leave a league, and I don't say this lightly, is if no one does anything. It's kind of like, okay, well, what's the point of that if nobody's active? Fantasy football is supposed to be fun. That's kind of why we started doing it in the first place. So getting back to what we were talking about, if you think that RJ Harvey is close, but he's just a more fun player and it's going to be more enjoyable for you, yeah, Travis Hunter, same story, exactly what you were saying. The off season can lead to some real opportunities if you're paying attention. So after your rookie draft is over, stay up to date on all the latest news. I would highly suggest following beat reporters on Twitter if you aren't already. I'm talking individual beat reporters, but if you want the lazy man's way out, the 32 beat reporters do an excellent job. So if you follow them, they retweet a lot of the stuff and tweet out their own stuff as well. And follow trusted redraft analysts and dynasty analysts, because the reason why you follow redraft is because it is a bridge to dynasty. It is a very short-sighted view of what a player's value is right now. And I want to do an episode, who knows when we'll do it, but how you should take redraft analysis and apply it to dynasty. I think because I don't think I've seen that out there. At least maybe it probably is out there because everybody's, something's been done once, at least, I guess. But I've been intrigued by that topic because I think the two have more in common than people might think. It's not just about drafting young players and, guys with high draft capital, although that is an important part. But anyway, I would just pay attention to redraft analysts and dynasty analysts like us, so you can stay tapped in for all the latest news and notes and how we feel about players. And you should click like and subscribe and all that stuff. Matt Babich, any thoughts with the dynasty offseason?
Yeah, so my last thought would be in terms of redraft and dynasty, when you start to pay attention to podcasts that do, or at the same time, when we get into redraft, you'll watch your, redraft podcast, you watch your dynasty podcast, you read separate analysis. You're going to start seeing how similar the thought process and the takes are. You start just getting into this age and rookie pick complexity when you drift over into dynasty. But the truth is, we play in these 1 to 3 year windows in dynasty leagues. Yes, they go for a very long time, but generally speaking, even if you're tearing it down and rebuilding, you're looking at a 1 to 3 year window. And that is much more correlated to redraft than it is dynasty, the way we think about it. Because when you think the term dynasty, you think 5 to 10 years. But in reality, we're planning on much shorter horizons. And the redraft folks, in terms of in-season stuff, and the dynasty folks are looking for the same thing. They're looking for those diamonds in the rough who have, usage and opportunity, potential opportunity, maybe one injury away. It's the same thing. You just get to keep the player year over year. So you'll start to notice if you only watch Dynasty, you don't do a lot of redraft. I can't imagine really that's the common case in fantasy football. But if that is you start listening to both facets of it, you will start to see how similar things are.
It's very well said. Go follow Matt Babbage at Babbage_Matt10. You can follow me at Seth_DIEWOLD. You can follow the show at FF Dynasty Table on Twitter. Matt, any final words of wisdom before we tell the people not to care about Aaron Rodgers today?
Washington, Carolina, NHL playoffs on right now. Second period's about to
Lord.
start. Oh, wait, this isn't live anymore. NHL playoffs, tune in.
Yeah.
They're getting hot. The first round, Seth, it was incredible. It was peak cinema. There were so many good games. The second round is off to a phenomenal start. I'm telling you, Seth, I'm going to get you into hockey because I cannot believe that you don't watch. I think once you get into it, you are going to fall in love with it. And same to you, the viewer.
Well, I think the Blues, man. The Blues heartbreaking loss in double overtime.
Heartbreaking to give up that. I mean, it was 1:56 left in the clock. They were up 2 goals.
Jeez.
They lose in overtime.
Yeah, that's my team. If I had one, I'm a Midwest guy. I couldn't be cheering for the. I don't know.
Hey, they're on a good trajectory. They're probably going to be a wild card contender again. So looking at the playoffs, but they got a good core. They're building. They're not a bad team to have to root for right now.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that'll do it for us. But the Dynasty game continues. I said off season. I don't know why I say there's no off season in Dynasty. That's why we like it so much. So
you got it. Anyway. You got like a 4-week break before you renew the season in Sleeper and you start back up.
All right. Well, that is the show. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to click like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. That is Matt Babbage. I'm Seth Dewald. We will see you later. Nobody cares about Aaron Rodgers. Have a wonderful day.